welcome to the Joy Link, where we inspire and empower you to expand in joy. Hi, I'm your co-host Brian, and I'm joined by the always lovely Julia. Julia, how are you?
I'm great, and I'm really looking forward to talk about one of the topics that I'm passionate about. But guys, before we start, I have questions for you. So do you agree with the saying that you are what you eat? And also, how much actual attention do you pay to your diet every week? And also, I would like to thank you so much for being here. You can do so many other things than listening to the podcast or listen to another podcast. So we truly appreciate you and thank you so much. And we do our best to deliver as much value as we can. So, Brian, what is this episode about? What they will learn?
Yeah, so in this episode, we're going to find out why to pay attention to the food that you eat and how it links up with joy and what science has to say about it, right? The latest science, and how to spot and stop emotional eating, and loads more. And then, of course, we have our challenge of the week at the end of the episode as well. So make sure you tune in for that. And that will definitely help you to put the new insights into practice that you learned during the episode. And then you can make the most out of your time.
And so I'm not a big fan of conspiracy theory, but when you look at the food, I think this is the biggest one, that it's actually the truth. And I cannot believe that we need study and we need scientists that they actually coming up with the findings that yes, good food or whole food makes you healthy, but we do those. So Brian, what is the latest science talking about nutrition and food?
Yeah, so I just have some really quick bullets about the latest science. And just before I get into those, really our number one asset is our energy. And by having a different vision around this modern diet is a really great way to optimize. So the latest science is pretty much telling us that 80% of chronic diseases are preventable, right? We don't need to experience any of that. And from every 10% of processed food that we eat, we increase our risk of chronic disease by 14%. That really tells us about the processed food, right? Getting our eyes around that. And then since the US has a major impact and looking at their diet, about 60% of the US diet is processed food. Now we can start being concerned, right? And then there are 2 billion people that are overweight in the world at the moment. And so when we're looking at just those simple figures that can be found from the scientific community, we really see the importance of how much and the type of food that we're taking in. And as a general rule, it's really easier to prevent than to reverse. So we want to be on the forefront of the knowledge about the food that we're taking in and then just run that really healthy formula for optimizing our lives
Yeah,
and energy.
and also I just want to say I think I really want to share that I'm sorry to say, but not every organization, even that it's under the health, it does not have your best interest in their mind. Like it's just this is like the most heartbreaking for me to think about it, that there were times that there were recommendation for pregnant women to smoke cigarettes. There were times from, let's say, health diseases, heart diseases, recommendation to use fats such as rapeseed oil because of the gut healthy donation. There are times that ultra processed food is kind of somehow related to the same people that the cigarettes company. So it's not every organization have your best interest. So when somebody is saying that obesity is due to DNA, I just want to say that 100 years ago, anyone that was overweight, they were in the circus because people haven't seen that. Definitely not majority of the population to be overweight. So make sure that you check the sources, and processed food high in sugar, high in like unhealthy, like the fake fats, let's say, that it's you cannot make in your kitchen is not good for you. Like, and It's not. That's it. And then I know that there is a lot of big people that they are advertising those kind of food, but they do not have your best interest and health in mind. I'm so sorry to say that, but that's the truth. And even sometimes your doctor does not have the best interest because they are not nutritionists. They are meant to put the fire down, not to find the source of the fire. And that's a big difference. What I learned when I was in China and learned about Chinese medicine, and my Chinese teacher explained it in the super simple way that, you know what, your medicine is more like when you have a pain, to stop the pain. Our medicine is to find the root of this pain,
Right.
and make it stop. So that's a big difference. And the food is like finding the root to the pain that you have and make it stop from inside out. It's not like a cover up solution. And this is so important because every bite matters, and habits that you have around food matters, because with each bite you choose health or you choose sickness. It sounds drastic, but it's really like that. Either the food that you eat will heal you or will kill you. That's it. But the thing is that with the ultra processed food, it's a really, really not a cool way to go, because you will suffer for a really long time.
Right.
And I'm really drastic about it because, yeah, oh, live a little, eat unhealthy. Like, that's a bullshit. That's the biggest bullshit and the biggest lie that I ever heard. Like, be mindful what you eat because you will suffer the consequences of it.
Yeah, and there's a really good book if you want to actually really dig into a lot of the science, and it's by Mark Hyman. It's called Food Fix, right? And it's really like a manifesto that will change the way you think about food and eat, right? How you'll change your perspective forever, right? It really gives solutions for, on many different levels, from both personal to business and even policymakers, so that we can have a healthier world. So I would start there, because definitely doing your own research is really, really a part of it. And especially if you have kids, you want to make sure you're feeding them the best possible nutrients so that they can get and be what they want to be in this life, right? You want to empower them. And we can do a lot with food.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And Hippocrates said, let the food be the medicine and the medicine be the food. And there is so much of it. And I know that there are some medical companies with the big interest of giving like the being in shape in the injection. Well, yeah, it's up to you. You go easy or hard, like it's totally up to you. The consequences are on you. So it's fascinating what is happening. But yeah, it just wow, it's crazy that you can choose your health in the store, literally. But this is not in a week, it's not in the month, but in the 5 years will show. And for
Right.
me, as a person who was struggling with my body weight majority of my adult life, thinking that I'm healthy, like not knowing the basics of it, actually, like I can definitely relate to that. And also, I think with the food, that is quite interesting. I think maybe Brian, you haven't experienced that, but from women in this dieting culture, like everything is screaming at us to keep ourselves small and undernourished, like the diet of 1,500 calories. It's a thing. So it's just ridiculous that we are encouraged by the society to not fully nourish our body, which is crazy when I think about it. But yeah, it's again, who has the interest in it?
Yeah, it's another one of the mass media messages that go out there that, is just part of Western culture. And yeah, so that's specifically for women. Now, from my own perspective, I can say when I was a kid, I was busy eating a lot of candy, right? And so all of a sudden I had like 12 fillings, right, in my teeth, just all these cavities from eating tons of candy. And then that went into all-nighters with working overnight and Mountain Dew, right? And cookies, right? And I did that for years and years. And, I've had a crazy adventure with food, right?
Yeah.
Even,
I read this book, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, because I was wondering like why I'm so like, it's kind of obsession, right? And there is this book called How to Stop Emotional Eating by Alan Carr. And it's amazing. There are 3 steps how to do it, but like the way how food is portrayed, that it's like as a reward, that you do something difficult, you can have a reward, right? And it's usually highly processed or sugary food, or it can be as making up for something, or it could be as the reward, or it could be as a celebration, right? Like going to McDonald's as a celebration. It's like, and I really love just to say, food is never a solution to any life problems, right? So that's why it's called emotional eating, because I love a very visual example in the book. Just imagine 2 people arguing in the middle of the room, and they will say like, let's eat something, it will make it better. It doesn't work like that.
It
You
doesn't
need
make
to walk.
sense.
Doesn't, but that's what we do. Like we eat ice cream and we make up for it. And I know it exactly, because when I used to work my regular job, I was eating so much cake at the office, and that was to make up for not living my purpose. I tried it to forget that I'm not doing what I meant to be doing with cake, which is crazy. But how to stop emotional eating in 3 steps? It's quite simple. You need to find a root cause. Why is it that you are eating emotionally? So it can be related to stress and anxiety, boredom, or unresolved traumas. And sometimes you can notice it, that, for example, you are working and something gets uncomfortable and you're like, okay, I will get up and go to eat something. Or like you just try to distract yourself. Food could be a distraction from you to prevent feeling this discomfort with emotions. Then you need to, so second step, it's about developing mindful eating habits. So you need to pay attention when actually you are hungry and how your food reacts to food, right? So you stop eating when you are full. Sometimes I was also doing that. I was eating too much just to, oh my God, just to not feel the feelings that I didn't want to feel. I would rather feel like my stomach could pop out or like rip than dealing with the stuff that I'm supposed to deal. So yeah, and it's kind of yeah, this is what happened, but everyone has their own story. So, and that's how you can start develop your healthier relationship with food, by literally listening to your body. And one of the things that I'm doing, I have quite fixed meals time when I eat the meals, and anything between that, it's probably because I'm bored or I don't want to deal with something. So I got to deal with that now because I'm aware. And the third one, it's about implementing practical coping strategies. So when you start feeling that you are anxious or stressed out or whatever, that you would be eating instead, you can develop different techniques. And we on the journaling, we talk a lot about it, but some what could be like a physical activity, journaling. You can practice relaxation technique like breathing and meditation to manage the emotions without restoring to food. And this is super important because our brain was actually wired to crave the sugar, to crave the food. And this is from the pretty much the beginning of the humankind. So you are going a little bit against your own biology, but it can be done.
Yeah, first the awareness and then the choice for something different, right? Yeah, because that emotional eating can be something that's very, very addictive and also out of your awareness or like underneath the surface. So, when those big emotions come up or those things that, want to come up for healing that make us uncomfortable, then it's time to actually sit through them and not go for the food, right? Because, yeah, like you said, the celebration with food, yeah, they program that in when we're kids, right? It's like, hey, have some cake, birthday cake, right? So, ooh, let's feel good and have a lot of sugar, and then we'll celebrate. Yeah, so we have to look at those concepts that we're subscribing to and then realize, okay, are they healthy? Are they serving us or not? And then we can actually make a choice.
And also when I'm saying that you go against your biology, because what you said that like, oh, cake is good. It's so first of all, it's about dopamine response. Sugar consumption triggers the release of dopamine, and therefore it's connected to pleasure and reward. So each time instead of like when you eat something sugary, you're like, yes, I've done it. That's what your brain thinks, and that's why you want more, and that's how you create habit of eating more and more sugary thing. And unfortunately, like one of the best strategy how to stop this vicious cycle is to stop or reduce sugar, which is the very hard thing to do because this thing is addictive. It's highly addictive. And also that's what a lot of food producers, especially like high ultra processed food producers, they know about it. That's why they put sugar in everything. Like the things that they should never have sugar in it, they have the sugar in it.
Right.
Because it's based on the historical scarcity. Like back in the 100 years ago, there wasn't that many natural sugars, right? It was mostly like honey and fruits, and they were not always available. Like there were some months that there was no honey or sugar, right? Honey or fruits. So that's what makes us think that there was not enough. And now we live in the modern days. There is abundance. You can have always fruit. You can have, right, like from all over the world. Like we live in the abundance, and that what leads to all of these health consequences. But this is kind of the piece of information that it's used in many products, that it's like too much sugar. Why we love drinking soda? Because there is so much sugar in it that is addictive. So it's crazy, like how, and it's I will just sum it up with what Mark Twain said, that the only way to keep our health is to eat what you don't want, drink that you won't like, and do what you would not rather not to. It's about this when we had the episode about habits, about how good habits, positive habits, they sucks at the beginning, but later you reap the reward, and the bad habits, they feel amazing. But unfortunately later you deal with consequences, and you can start loving the healthy food and drinking water instead of soda, but probably it's not going to be easy at the beginning.
Right. But it's definitely worthwhile. If you'd like more energy, more zest for life, more joy in your life, to do the things that you actually want to do and achieve everything that you know you can. And, it goes against the traditional Western concept about food and all the corporations that are making food as well. And the Western medical industry is also really connected to the food industry as well. Because, like Julia, what you said, the difference between the East and the West, right, is the symptomatic perspective is what the Western world is looking at it from, and it doesn't get to root causes, right? And so what we want to move to is those systematic thinking, right? And this is where the food becomes the medicine. We can start with this new formula around food by looking at serotonin. And this is what regulates behavior and mood, memory, and the gastrointestinal homeostasis. So simply put, it affects our well-being and happiness, right? It can make us happy and sad. And our gut produces 90% of the body's serotonin. And there's actually 9 times more communication channels that go up from the gut to the brain than from the brain to the gut, which makes it the body's leader in both health and well-being, right? In serotonin, right? It's the gut. So we got to ask ourselves, okay, well, what are we feeding our gut? And will it make me healthy and happy, or sad and lethargic?
Yeah, I love that. And I think on this topic about serotonin and food, we should talk more on our Instagram live or Facebook. It will be happening this Thursday. On Instagram, it's 5:30, and on Facebook, it's at 6 p.m. every other week. So I don't know if that will be exact week, but you will find out. Yes, it's great. So what are the recommendations, Brian?
Yes. Okay. So if we can eat like our favorite spiritual teacher, we just want to keep the temple pure, keep it clean. We can start by cutting back on drinking sugar, right? Both soda and fruit juice can be toxic, right? And that's independent research proves it. The funny thing is that the science is saying that sugar is candy for cancer cells.
Mm.
And normal healthy cells eat oxygen as food, but cancer cells eat sugar. And so
Wow.
sugar acts as the candy for cancer cells. And so the more sugar we put in, it's like, okay, we're going to reap that result. And when it comes to sugar as well, we want to definitely protect the most vulnerable among us, which are the kids, right? Because that stuff can be so incredibly addictive when you're young. And so we want to delete the sugar in our drinks first and then eat real food, right? So we want to throw out all the factory food, that ultra processed stuff. It's full of carbs that turn right into sugar. And so the general rule is if you can't read it or if you don't have the ingredient in your cupboard, then don't eat it. It's very simple. Right? Some of these words are so long.
Yeah, I saw something that if your grandmother did not eat it, then you shouldn't either. That it's yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing is if the labels really say, hey, it's low on sugar, the trick that companies are now doing is instead of just saying sugar, and then you can see how close it is to the beginning of the ingredients, they're splitting that word up into 3 or 4 different names. So it can be glucose, sucrose, right? It can be all these different words, and then it can sprinkle in and then look lower in the ingredients list. And it's just a way to play around the rules. But still, there's tons and tons of sugar in a lot of the processed foods. So you gotta watch yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Like, do not outsource the responsibility for your own well-being to others. Do not do that. Like, I don't know how many books that I have read on nutrition. I don't know how many diets I personally tried. I've been on keto as a vegetarian. Imagine how hard was it. I've been, from the brain perspective, I've been vegan. I've tried so many different diets to see what is optimal. And probably your diet is the most optimal. Like, it's as unique as you are. You just need to find out what works for you. And at the beginning, I said something about that, oh, you vote with every bite. I agree with that. But at the same time, if eating healthy will cause too much stress to you in the circumstances when it's not maybe possible, right? Because of there is not a very availability of something better options, then there is this 80-20 rules. If you eat 80% or 90% or 95, really good, you don't need to stress out if there is once, right? Because of the circumstances, because I know that there is a lot of food disorders because of that, because of the stress and cortisol. It's not worth it. Like, it's everything. You need to be mindful about it. And just like Buddha said, too much of this or too much of that, it's always in the middle. But with the food, you need to be extra careful. And yeah, I cannot imagine a situation when only ultra processed food is available. But yeah, because usually we have more options. But it's important to be mindful and pay attention, pay real attention to everything. And yeah, just aim high. That's it. Do not compromise on your health and do your own research. That's
Right.
Yeah, there are so many books out there. And today, when I was getting ready for the episode, I saw like a Baskin and Robbins, the ice cream.
Right.
So one of the founder, he was extremely unhealthy, and his son went another way. He was hippie, and he was healthy and all of that. And afterwards, he wrote a book. And the founder, I think Mr. Robbins, went to the doctor, and the doctor, he was like, if you don't change something, you don't have much, to go for, right? And then he gave him a book that was written by his own son, and he implemented all the changes. And this guy, he had even a swimming pool shaped as an ice cream, and he had this slogan that ice cream brings happiness. And everyone enjoys ice cream, but it's also about what is the life that you want to have and what are the consequences. Because I do not want the life where I cannot run like really fast behind my grandchildren, or like when I was running my first half marathon as an 18, I could not catch up with the 80 years old men running in front of me the same half marathon. Like, I want to be that kind of person. So if I want to get there, I need to choose wisely now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have some other points, or we can go to the tasks of the week?
Yeah, the task of the week. We've got a good one this week. This is really tapping into how the body works and understanding the body, right? So there is the glymphatic system that cleans the brain at night, and it allows for self-healing as well of the entire body while you sleep. And yet it's only running when the digestive system is off, right? So we want to sleep on an empty stomach. So the challenge of the week is to stop eating or like not have any more food from 8 o'clock at night for 13 hours. And so that's going to be till 9 in the morning the next day, right? And we want to do this for 7 days. So we can have that 13-hour window between meals so your body can really repair itself and take care of those cleaning out the brain as well. And so really it's a general rule of stopping eating 4 hours before bed. Let's say if it's at midnight, you go to sleep, or at 11, then it would be 8 o'clock or even 7, right? And getting that 13-hour window. So I know that may be quite a challenge. That's why it's called a challenge. And it's really incredibly rewarding as well. How great you can feel when you wake up. So that is the challenge of the week. Good luck.
Yes, so today you learned a lot about why we love sugar so much, how important it is, the food that you eat, and how does it link to your overall joy because of the serotonin and dopamine. So those are crucial factors. And also, if you found this episode valuable, please share it with your loved ones that maybe they should pay more attention to the food. Yes, share the joy with others. And one more time, thank you so much for joining us here today. And if you feel like you would like to hang out more with us, you can join our Facebook groups when you will be up to date, and then we can invite you to more communication. That we would love to hear your feedback and what you're up to. And yeah, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. And be sure to like and subscribe and check us out on Facebook and Instagram Lives on Thursday.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everybody. See you next time. All right, ciao.